Madden 22 has officially announced their cover athletes for this year's edition, and to many's dismay, it is two goats. They teased us out with a goat and a baby goat, and obviously I think it was easy to make the assumptions. They're talking about Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, two athletes that have graced the cover in the last 4 years already. Now they hold it jointly. Brett, I have a variety of different thoughts about the Madden cover selection, but I feel like a lot of people are more focused on the game itself. For you initially, what is your reaction on the cover reveal for Madden 22?
Hey, I think it's interesting, right? I think Madden has gone through so many different processes by which they want to select the Madden cover, right? One year it was an offensive player and a defensive player. It used to be the MVP would then go on, and it seems that they're trying to switch it up and figure out what's going to resonate with fans. And man, am I so tired of seeing Tom Brady's face everywhere. So that's my initial reaction. But what I will say is this: Patrick Mahomes is certainly the face of this league moving forward. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who doesn't think he's currently the best quarterback in football. And we know quarterbacks sell. Quarterbacks are sexy. I think you need to have a quarterback on the cover. And when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes who can be the face of your league, I think you got to do it. The other thing I'll say is this: one of the reasons the golf game was so popular for EA Sports was you had someone like Tiger Woods you could roll out on the cover each and every single year. Is that something we see Madden maybe moving forward, or are they going to continue to showcase stars? I don't know. But one thing is clear: they seem to be teasing the idea of the old guard passing the torch to the new guard. I wonder if that means something for the gameplay itself.
It might, but let's get into the gameplay here. I think that there's a lot of things that Madden fans, I know, Brett, you played Madden. I played Madden a lot. I think the voice of frustration from Madden fans last year, after last year's product was released, was they're not listening to the people that play the game. Now they said, hey, we're going to open things up. We're going to start listening to the players who play our game. Now, we haven't really seen any deep dives yet, but franchise mode is one of the biggest issues of Madden in terms of just really a copy and paste format every single year with a new sprinkle or a new feature. But the gameplay in and of itself is something that many people talk about. In your opinion, what does Madden need to fix in this year's game?
I think for a lot of the Madden players who play the game but have also played actual football, and a lot of people who play Madden are consumers of the NFL's live product, right? And so for us, it's always about realism. I mean, for years, one of the biggest complaints was that the linebacker could jump 20 feet in the air and intercept a pass that was on a rope up the seam, right? Some things, we would see things that we don't see on Sundays when we actually watch the game. And the more competitive you start playing this game, okay, the more that becomes very frustrating, because you're trying to do and replicate what you wish you could be doing in real life on Sundays. And so when the game doesn't give you that feel as best it can, that becomes a problem. And especially when for years consecutively, it's basically the same product with the same problems. You hit the nail on the head with franchise mode, man. That used to be the selling point for the game, and it's something that users are just consistently and more frequently upset with. And I think we can do a better job of trying to give more power and realism to the fan. And what I'll say lastly about this, Cody, is this: the offseason in the NFL every single year is getting more and more popular. We know this at Pro Football Network. It's probably the busiest part of our season. And so what that means is with franchise mode, we've got to bring the realism that we want to bring on the field. We've got to bring that to the offseason for franchise mode, because fans love it. They love free agency. They love trades. What's the biggest memes we say go around? When a trade happens in a certain sports league, we go, oh, that would never happen in Madden. You would never, even Madden wouldn't accept that trade. So we've got to be able to bring the realism to the offseason too, because that is a selling point for the league.
It truly is. One thing I wish that they would fix a little bit too is just the commentary. I love Charles Davis. I love Brandon Gaudin, but it seems like for the last 3 years, the commentary templates have been the same. When one play happens, it's the same generic template. There's no change. Now, obviously, in season, they're recording week to week based on what happened so that there is a little bit more of a realistic feel, but the audio templates have to change. I would even suggest throwing in an additional announcer. I mean, I know we're never going to get to the point, at least in the next couple of years while EA holds the exclusive rights, but I want to see a more authentic football simulation rather than the same thing every single year. Now, some of the proposed changes we've heard about so far in franchise mode have been related to the offseason in general, even practice. You can simulate either walkthrough, pads or no pads, but it's kind of given that feel. How many people really do play practice mode in franchise? I know for me, I often at times I skip it unless I really want to, get a gold coin or a gold, token on a specific coverage that I run defensively. Those are things I would like to see change a little bit. But the presentation mode, I mean, I think they've improved every year. It's graphics. In your opinion, what do you think about the commentary and even maybe some of the proposed changes they've made so far?
I think you bring up a great point about the commentary. I think what we've come to love about the real game on Sundays is the different voices that we hear, whether it's Chris Collinsworth, Al Michaels, Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts. I'm throwing names out there, but we know so many of the broadcasters: Tony Romo, Jim Nantz, the classics. And then when we go play Madden, we get the same two voices over and over again. But when we watch the game, when we consume the NFL, we know on Sundays we're going to get this voice, on Mondays we're going to get this voice, so on and so forth. And so I think your point about adding more commentators to the game, maybe differentiating between if you're playing on the Monday night setting, the Sunday night setting, Sunday 1 o'clock setting, and having different announcers, I think would really add that next level to the commentary. And to your point on certain modes like practice, I don't think adding things like padded or non-padded or walkthrough is really, it seems like one of those changes you make simply to say that you made a change, but it doesn't actually impact anything, because I'll tell you what, many of the people who play Madden are returning players. Why? EA has a monopoly on the brand, right? And so you're forced to play it. But also they've built up, a loyal following of people who are going to stand in line and get that game year after year. And
I'm guilty of it.
That's right. As am I, right? And none of us, and I played it on every system, by the way, but none of us are doing that because we care, what the practice mode is going to be. We're doing it because, again, we want to replicate what we're seeing on Sundays and Mondays, and now even Thursdays. And so, in terms of little changes like that, I would implore EA, when we tell you we want changes, don't make changes to that. Right? Give us, more of the meat of what we're looking for. And my point about returning players is this, because we're returning players and the functionality and the button configurations relatively stay the same, we almost always skip the practice modes, like you just said, Cody, unless you tell us there's a new gameplay function that we have to learn in order to be competitive in what is most popular, the online gameplay. And if we want to be competitive there, then we know we have to check out the latest features. Other than that, we're skipping that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's been such a focus on Madden Ultimate Team, which is fun. There's a place, but when all the resources have seemingly been allocated to spending time upgrading that every year rather than franchise mode, which in my opinion, I feel like franchise mode is more commonly played because you play it offline and then people create leagues and play. And so there's this user interactivity that I feel like is really missing out on the experience because of the fact that it is the same game every single year. Brett, I'm excited to see what the game is going to look like. We're going to have to wait till August 17th if we pre-order early, get our hands on it to be able to see if they've made these applicable changes. And obviously here at Pro Football Network, we will be very involved in Madden NFL this year on all of our YouTube platforms, Twitch, and you can pull up a chair and play alongside with us.